Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now getting closer to the end of April of 2023, and given that we have Jon and Dave really beginning to tease and set a lot of things up for what's about to actually happen with the future of the Star Wars roadmap, and really teasing all the announcements that will be coming our way, by the way, at D23 this year, which takes place in September, there's a lot of different avenues that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are currently taking to really enhance and expand the Star Wars franchise. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, there's a lot of things happening with, of course, everything related to The Mandalorian Season 3 fan criticism and how Jon and Dave have been handling that, as well as what was supposed to happen for this particular installment that never came out to be because of Kathleen Kennedy, obstructing and really kind of interfering with the creative process. Now, Jon Favreau had a couple of things to say about Season 3 and the development of all of this and exactly where it was going to go and how he actually surprisingly apologized and really kind of directly told the fans about how aware they really are about the fan criticism, about some of the creative struggles that they ran into, and some of the creative decisions that perhaps did not meet fan expectations. So let's run right into this. Now, given that Jon is still busy with The Mandalorian Season 4, we know that they are doing a lot of revisions to the script right now in response to Mando Season 3 and how a lot of things are happening with all of that. We also have the fact that Ahsoka Season 2 has been greenlit by Lucasfilm to continue that story, so let's not forget about that as well. However, going back to Jon Favreau, with Disney and Lucasfilm getting ready to announce many new projects for the fans at this year's D23 event, it's described that many, of course, and that Jon Favreau took part in an interview where he went on to talk about the fan criticism against Season 3 of Mando and went on to apologize to fans for some of the decisions that they had made. Favreau went on to state the following: "In this industry, you always have to make tough calls. You always have to make rough decisions, and sometimes you fall into creative decisions, or perhaps have too many creatives working together at once and fall into creative struggles. The fan criticism is not a stranger to us, and we have noticed a level of disappointment in our product. We are very sorry about some of the decisions that we had to make, and we do deeply apologize if we did not meet fan expectations. These kinds of things tend to happen in the film industry, and to me, it's never about pointing fingers at anybody or blaming anybody other than maybe we didn't make the best decisions on our end. But I always like to see this as a learning experience. You learn from your mistakes, and you also learn from fan feedback, and that's the best and greatest thing about this industry, is that you can find your ways to make things better and just evolve your creative vision." So let me stop right here for one moment. Now, Jon Favreau is a very class, act, so to speak, because he's all about not pointing fingers at anybody, not blaming anybody. You can see that he takes the higher road. He is the bigger man. He's not ranting about anybody. He's not doing anything like that. Unlike Kathleen Kennedy, who literally does that toward the fans. She does that toward George Lucas and his vision of Star Wars and how they need to abandon that and let go of that burden. But the thing about Mando Season 3 is that Kathleen Kennedy did have a big hand in the scripting phase, but not during filming. So that's a common misconception that Kathleen Kennedy was not 100% involved in the show. She did have some input in the scripting when Jon and Dave were still working that out. The thing about this, though, that's surprising is that there were a lot of creatives that were actually involved in the storytelling process, and I think that this does connect to what we talked about just the other day, about what Jon Favreau also said, about how some of the directors, like Bryce Dallas Howard and others out there, had some kind of creative input into the development of the script and the story and where it was going. So I would not be too surprised, and I'm not saying that this is definite, but I would not be too surprised if the Jack Black and Lizzo scene and stuff like that in Mando was not a call made by Jon and Dave. Perhaps it was done by one of those directors. I'm sure that we're going to find out someday as the fans, press more for answers, but this is very interesting. Nonetheless, we know that Mando Season 3 is not doing well on Rotten Tomatoes, and I know Rotten Tomatoes is not always the best thing to go by, but it does give you a rough idea about where a specific project stands. So right now, I think the last time I checked, it was standing at 50% on the fan side of things. You know, the critic side of things, obviously, they were raving about this season. And if you guys, by the way, like this season, that's perfectly fine. I mean, everyone's open to their opinion. We're all human beings, after all. But he goes on to conclude, I am still proud of some of the decisions that we made in this season. We had a blast setting up the next chapter in Grogu's development, and we cannot wait to share this with Season 4. But once again, myself and Dave care about the fans, and we do apologize if we made certain decisions that did not agree with anybody. We have some surprising announcements coming your way soon that I hope will change the fans' outlook on things moving onwards, and I am honored to be a part of this great adventure that we have been on for the past couple of years. Now again, we know that Mando Season 4 is going to be very much heavy on the cameos again. We're talking about character cameos specifically. That's going to be the big deal about all of this related to Season 4 of Mando. And that's the one thing that was lacking in Season 3, is that we didn't really get the big-time character cameo that you are all used to in the Book of Boba, in Mando Season 2, stuff around those lines that set up different character arcs. But what Jon and Dave are doing is that they're saving that for the Ahsoka series now. So we're going to be getting those cameos in, of course, August when Ahsoka drops on Disney+. Now, the thing about Jon Favreau is that he's really making it clear that he doesn't like to blame anybody, he doesn't like to point fingers or be disrespectful in that light, but he likes to focus on kind of just revising your creative plan on your mistakes and based on fan feedback. And that's what I like so much about Jon and Dave, is that these guys listen to fans. They care about the fans. They care about the fandom and the community. That's basically what they're all about, because they are fans themselves. They care about the overall current state of Star Wars and where it's heading. And I think that's exactly why you saw such a sharp decline in Season 3 as far as storytelling, as far as fan reception, because Kathleen Kennedy did, yes, have a bigger hand in the script than she did in Season 2. Keep in mind that when Season 2 was happening, she was very busy with other things related to Star Wars, trying to set up the movies that came to a failure that never actually got made. And so, given that Kathleen Kennedy now is only involved strictly in the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew so far, so good, that's all she's involved with, this really does spell a light at the end of the tunnel that there's great things coming for Ahsoka, Mando 4, Ahsoka Season 2, and all the other untitled projects as well that will be shown to us, the fans, at this year's D23. The second phase of the roadmap, by the way, is going to be shown to all of the fans around the globe, you know, pretty much showing the projection, when they're coming out, which order they're going to be coming out, and stuff like that. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below what you guys have to say about all of this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon.